And because of our rebellion against God, we choose to sin against God. We choose to live that way. Because of our rebellion against God, and because of our sin against God, we refuse to seek reconciliation with God. The Bible says in chapter 3, verse 12 of Romans, it says, there's none that seeketh after God. There's none that doeth good, no, not one. The Bible says in Isaiah 53, verse 6, it says this, all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. We're not seeking God. There's not a person out there seeking after God. God has to draw them, and God's drawing everyone, by the way. God is drawing everyone, but because of our rebellion towards God, we're not seeking after God. We don't like to retain God in our knowledge. And because people refuse to retain God in their knowledge, how many sins are we one step away from becoming reprobate? How many sins are we from becoming reprobate? As unsaved world around us, that next door neighbor who's not saved, how many more sins, how far does he have to go in his sinful nature to become reprobate, where God says no more? I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. God does. That's rough stuff. But because of our rebellion towards God, we refuse to seek reconciliation. God has set before us death and life, and we choose death. Without God convicting us and showing us and bringing us to Him, convincing Him of our sin, we will not come to God by our own. We don't. How many times do you see people come to church because they want to get saved? Hardly ever. People usually come to church because we invite them. The way we're supposed to go out and lead people to Christ is to go out to them and knock on their door. Amen. And confront them where they are. Why? Because they're not seeking after God. They're not. They go to church because they want to feel good about themselves. So they checked off a religious thing off their notch off their belt. But they're not seeking after God. Young people today are becoming more rebellious towards the things of God like ever before. Yeah. We were out door knocking on Thursday, and Ryan and I went up to this. We let a lady right across the way to her, and then we went upstairs and came back down, and there's a door over here. We knocked on the door, and I forgot the young man's name, but we started talking about heaven and hell. He goes, I don't really believe. Ryan started showing him about verses about hell, and he started laughing. Like something was funny. He goes, Ryan says, is something funny? I love it, because Ryan's like, he's like so polite, you know, Ryan's polite, is it something funny? Like, what's up? What's funny? He goes, I just saw something on TV. But the whole time they're laughing and snickering and jeering. And then Ryan realizes, okay, this guy doesn't believe in hell. This guy's mocking us. Have a good day, and moves on. Yeah. But I was like, young people, and he was what? Maybe 18, maybe. He was young kid. Young people nowadays, yeah, I'm an atheist. No, you're not. You don't even know what an atheist is. You're not an atheist. Right. You're not. These young people going to college, 14 years old, coming out and telling me, oh yeah, I'm a lesbian. You don't even know what a lesbian. You don't know what you can't spell lesbian. They don't know what they believe, but they're being taught this kind of stuff in college, in high school, in grade school, in middle school. They're being taught this stuff on the internet. They're being taught this stuff in their music. They're being taught this kind of stuff in their games. There is no God. Oh, there is a God. Yeah. And we're going to stand and give account to Him one day. While these people just kind of go rapid on and on. There's no fear of God in their eyes. The Bible says it in Proverbs. There's no fear of God in their eyes. There's none. Look, the generation that we have today, it was bad in my generation. It was bad in some of y'all's generation. It's even more wicked in the generation coming up. These young kids growing up, we have no idea what culture. We got to get a grip on it. Go to their class sometime. Go to their school sometime. Sit in one of their classes. They're not being taught a world. You know what they're being taught? They're being taught an atheist worldview, an agnostic worldview, that there is no God. You can't prove there's a God. And we can't figure it out. Let me tell you, the public school is no place to have children go to college. I understand people have I understand the system we live in. But I'm telling you, the best place for a kid to learn is for mom and dad at home. That's the best place. Christian schools are even off the rock or crazy. Right. In the past 15 years, I've heard more scandals in Christian schools going on, sex abuse in Christian schools, not in public schools. I would almost say that the Christian school is secondary to the public school. That's how wacky it is. These teachers don't want to have to get up there and teach it. Now, I'm not saying every public school teaches wrong, but I'm saying the majority of it does. The majority of it does. Parents, go to your kid's school sometime. Go down there and talk to the school board sometime and see what they're teaching kids. The world does not want us. The world does not want us to raise our children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. It just doesn't.